When you create a pivot table that contains multiple fields in the rows area, you're able to show or hide detail within the body of your pivot table. In this movie, I will show you how to extend that capability using grouping. As my sample file, I will use the grouping workbook, which you can find in the Chapter 2 folder of your exercise files archive. So like I said, this pivot table contains data that's arranged by month and then by week for the row area, then by department for the column area, and it contains sales data in the body of the pivot table. Because I have a two-level organization, month and week, in the row area, I can click this Hide Detail button beside month, and when I do, Excel hides the detail underneath January. So instead of having the weekly data, I just see the subtotal for January. I could do the same thing for February and also for March. And I'll click the Show Detail button now for those 3 months to bring back the data. But now let's say that I want to hide detail inside of a pivot table. So for example, let's say that I'm only really interested in weeks 1 and 2 for January, and I want to hide the data for weeks 3 through 4. And note that that data is displayed in spreadsheet rows 8, 9, and 10. To add Hide Detail and Show Detail buttons to those rows, all you need to do is select rows 8 through 10, and then on the Data tab, in the Outline group, click the Group button. Doing so adds a grouping level to the worksheet, and you can see to the left of rows 8, 9, and 10, I have an outline bar and a Hide Detail button. If I click that button, then rows 8, 9, and 10 are hidden. They're still in the worksheet, they're just not currently displayed. If I want to bring them back, I can click the Show Detail button, and they're there. Now notice that the grand total for January is 558,258. If I hide the detail for rows 8 through 10, the grand total doesn't change. So even though you're just seeing the data for weeks 1 and 2, the summary operation still encompasses all of the data that's contained in the pivot table, even if it's not displayed. If you want to remove the grouping level from those rows, then you just select the row headers again, and on the Data tab in the Outline group, click the Ungroup button, and the grouping level is removed. And that is how you get more control over which rows are displayed within a pivot table. You can use grouping to change which rows are displayed without changing your summaries.